Give it up for Ava Bogle. If a guy is like in his 40s and has nothing to show for it, no kids or career or whatever, then he better be really good at eating some pussy. I announce to the man sitting across from me at the breakfast table. He's a coworker, and it's the morning after our first date. We've just had sex and spent the night, and now we're eating eggs. And I'm telling him about the last guy I fucked. A whiny comedian who was 43 and lived in the valley with his cat. His only redeeming quality, his amazing pussy-eating abilities. What inspires this sentiment to fly out of my mouth at this particular moment? I have verbal diarrhea. This manifests in a couple different ways. It makes me say sexually explicit things, and it makes me say angry feminist things. One of these things helps me get laid. This has always been a thing for me. I say what's on my mind, and often what comes out of my mouth is basically garbage. I'm the worst at keeping secrets. I always kiss and tell. And frequently on first dates, I find myself bringing up some horror story about the last guy I fucked to the unsuspecting man sitting across from me. In these moments, I picture the movie version of this guy's life in which I'm the awful woman he's enduring and will later tell his best friend about. The fact that I'm talking about another man's pussy-eating abilities after a night of pretty awkward sex with a guy who had trouble performing and felt clearly insecure about it makes my admission even more excruciating. It's not like I'm trying to make him feel uncomfortable. Actually, what's happening is the opposite. The truth is, I like this guy, and I'm excited that he's in my house. And unfortunately, it's after sex with someone I actually like that my verbal diarrhea really takes a turn for the worse. I watch coworker's face for some kind of reaction. He looks a little stunned, but he's smiling vaguely, so I barrel on. I give him a sampling of things I've said out loud after sex. It was so nice to meet you. Thanks for the fucking. That guy was totally cock-blocking me last night. I wasn't gonna fuck both you guys, and you clearly won. Stop talking, Ava. I can sense a wariness pass over coworker's face, but while he simultaneously works up a polite chuckle. Women are supposed to be coy after sex. I try to remind myself. We're meant to be all blushing cheeks, and I don't usually do this kind of thing. No one wants to wake up next to an aggressive animal with the mouth of a trucker talking about another man's pussy-eating abilities. What is wrong with me? Is it really that I'm just so comfortable and casual about sex that I feel cool being totally gross and blunt on the morning after? Or is it the opposite? Do I use this post-coital comedy shtick to mask a deeper longing for connection, to hide the fact that I'm a human woman with human feelings that may have just been whoopsies triggered by sex? I like to treat sex as men do. Meet a random at a party, fuck him, go home, and then forget all about it. No matter how hard I try, though, how seemingly easy it is for me to hook up casually, I always end up in a post-coital emotional shitstorm. I want that follow-up call. If I like the guy at all, I usually want a real date. I don't understand why sex is so often the end of a potential relationship rather than the beginning. And I know, them's the rules of one-night stands. I guess what I'm coming to realize is that I'm not very good at casual sex. I load up my fork with eggs and stare at the open, vulnerable face sitting across from me. I wait for him to say something, and when he doesn't, I decide to tell him another story. A Tinder date I went on recently with a guy I knew within 5 minutes I didn't ever want to see again. I explained how most of the night Tinder dude talked loudly and relentlessly about himself, and then when he finally got around to asking about me, something I said triggered an anecdote about his own life, and he kept right on talking. Somehow we got on the subject of rape culture and Brock Turner. He expressed that the possibility of a rape accusation was, quote, terrifying for a man. To which I exploded. Rape is terrifying for you? I told him that I'm a raging feminist, I announced to a coworker, watching him closely for the telltale wariness I had seen on the face of Tinder dude upon my bringing up the F word, another first date no-no. Tinder dude asked what that meant, so I gave him my usual spiel about equal opportunities for women and empowering female voices, to which he basically started mansplaining feminism to me and then tried to convince me that women don't actually make less money in Hollywood and basically that I should shut up and stop complaining. Coworker doesn't respond to this. He doesn't seem to know what to say. They never do. As I continue talking, I start to wonder if I have somehow become the mansplainer in this situation. He has barely said a word, and yet I keep right on talking, entertained by my own bravado, happy to have an attentive audience. I relish being in this position. I want to be the one who's listened to. I'm tired of being the listener, what seems to me the perennially female role. I will be a woman-splainer, I think happily to myself. I will make it my mission to woman-splain mansplaining to men. And who cares if I never have sex again? This is better than sex. I keep talking, telling him about how I then told Tinder dude he had been talking at me all night, interrupting me, and that I knew a lot about him at this point, and he didn't know a whole lot about me. Tinder dude interrupted me again as I explained about his interrupting, yelling, "Well, interrupt me back!" To which I stood up and said, "It was nice to meet." "Yeah, you're welcome for the drinks," he interrupted. I marched out of the bar feeling vindicated. I must be growing up, I say, because just 6 months ago, I definitely would have fucked that guy. Coworker looks tired. I ask if he wants another cup of coffee. He shakes his head, says, "No, thank you." I have a sudden moment of clarity and wonder, am I sabotaging myself right now? Unlike with Tinder dude, I actually like this guy, and therefore trying to bring down the date shouldn't be my ultimate intention. Or is my verbal diarrhea strategically designed by my subconscious to weed out those guys who simply can't deal with me and my mouth? Because my mouth, in all its iterations, is not for the faint of heart. Perhaps what appears to the naked eye to be self-sabotage is actually a form of self-preservation, because it seems what I'm looking for is pretty specific. A unicorn of sorts. A man who thinks angry feminists are hot. A guy who finds talking about another man's pussy-eating abilities after a night of awkward sex to be genuinely hilarious, or at least worth exploring further. I want someone who isn't interested in the way women are supposed to talk about sex. Let's skip the usual one-night stand post-coital small talk and get right into talking about feminism and cunnilingus at 9 a.m. on a hungover Sunday morning. Why not? Why is it taboo to talk about sex with someone after you've just had sex? Why is it inappropriate to marvel at the bizarreness of the fact that people put pieces of their bodies literally inside other people and yet still feel like strangers? Why does sex so often feel like the end of something rather than the beginning? These are the things I want to talk about. I want someone who isn't afraid of these conversations. Perhaps there's a man out there who would respond to my declaration of being a raging feminist with a resounding, "Fuck yes, me too." I stare at the blank face of my coworker. Could you be that dude, I wonder? Will you suddenly stand up and say, "I love your verbal diarrhea. What are you doing Friday?" I wait. He says he has a lot of things to do today. I say, "Yeah, me too." I walk him to the door, thinking I probably won't see him again. And that's okay. because I just decided that anything less than fuck yes is worth sabotaging. Thank you.